This podcast provides a platform that will share many different points of views that should empower you, uplift you, make you want to go out and do right. When you hear the term still a man, say, yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Let's go.
What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Still a Man podcast. Well, tonight we are going to talk about gender reassignment. And we want to talk to the parents, but we just want to get everybody's point of view. But most of all, we want the parents' point of view. So the topic, as it reads, is what would you do if your child wanted to undergo a gender transition? But it's also referred to as gender reassignment. And just putting it in layman's terms, we are talking about a sex change. And just so we're clear about this, we are talking about as it pertains to children, not people that are adults making adult decisions. We're talking about children being able to make this decision before they're able to basically make decisions about adult topics and adult situations and stuff like that. So we're going to get right into it. And I want to go ahead and get a definition out of the way. Tanya, would you please give us the definition for gender identity?
Okay, gender identity, a person's internal sense of being male, female, or some combination of male and female.
Okay, so just so we clear.
Is that right though? Is that really the definition of that?
If you find
their internal feelings, like what the heck is
well,
that?
that
I thought you was assigning that.
Well, he asked for what the definition
that's what it is. That's the definition. That's the definition of gender identity. That's what it is. It's gender identity. Now, Gregory, just like always, if you find fault with what's being said, then don't take our word for it. Look it up.
I just don't think it's them identifying. It's just who they are.
I got more detailed information, but that's not what he asked for.
Tanya, you want to give him more? Give him more.
Well, when you talk about gender identity, you have to talk about the differences. What are the differences between sex, gender, and gender identity? Sex is a label, male or female, that you're assigned by a doctor at birth based on your genitals or your chromosomes.
Mm-hmm. Y'all holding back. Y'all just coming out.
Now that's the definition that I was looking for.
Gender. Hold on. Gender is much more complex. It's a social and legal status and set of expectations from society about behaviors and characteristics and thoughts. Mm-hmm. The culture says that you're supposed to be and act like because of what your gender is. Now, gender identity, mm-hmm. based on that, it has to do with how you express yourself, mm-hmm. your internal feelings by what you wear, how you dress, how you act.
Let's KIS.
I was gonna say I feel like one is scientific and the other one is opinionated.
So let's give it let's do it for the layman's term. So it's basically with what you identify with. So
exactly.
If you are born a young lady and you feel that you identify with, you have male feelings and stuff like that, and you feel that you're a boy, that's what you identify with. If you are a boy and you feel like that you have female feelings and you feel like that you are a woman on the inside, then that's what you identify with. So let's KISS, let's keep it simple for the stupid, basically. So even the dumb can understand it. Let's not talk over their heads. Let's keep it simple.
Hey, I was only saying what I was saying because I'm feeling like if they want to identify a mummy or a body that was just found, they're gonna identify you by your genitals. They tell you if you're a male or a female. So all the rest of that stuff just sounds fictitious.
It sounds
Okay, but
crazy, right?
what if
A
there is
big
no,
word
what
to
if there is
associate.
no, what if there is no genitalia? How would you identify them? You would have to do a blood type.
That would
Or
mean
do
they
an
was
assessment.
mutilated. That is some crazy stuff right there. That
Well,
is
it
like
happens all the time.
it.
You can
It
find
don't
body
happen
parts and
all
not
the
a whole
time, but it
body.
happens. But they would try to identify you through your genitals or
They
you being
identify
a
They
you
never
male
want to
through.
or a
see what you were
female.
born with.
They identify you through your damn your bone marrow and stuff
Your
like that.
dental,
That's how
they
they,
usually do it by
because
dental records
all
And
that
and
they're
stuff
gonna
fingerprints.
been
tell you
gone.
that you're male or female. That was what I was getting at. Forget the genitals. They're still gonna tell you if you're male or female at the end if they don't know who the person is.
All right, so let's keep it in perspective and let's keep it within the guidelines of tonight's discussion. So if you're just joining us, we are talking about what would you do if your child wanted to undergo a gender reassignment, a sex change. Sean, I think you was trying to say something. You want to go ahead and say that again?
Oh no, I was just gonna when everyone was chiming in, to me, there's only one word that describes when someone is born or labeled one thing but feels something else. That's where that other word comes in, is disorder.
So that's a good thing that you said that. So 10 years ago, it was referred to as I believe gender identity disorder. But you know how we get together and the behavioralists and the psychologists and psychiatrists and legal people get together, and people that have a lot of influence that shouldn't, and they have conversations without the people that it directly impact, and they decided to change it to gender dysphoria. Tanya, you want to tell everybody what gender dysphoria is?
I just had it up here. Hold on. Gender dysphoria. I got it. No, 1 second. I got it. Hold on.
Okay, and while Tanya's getting that,
I got it. I said I got it. A distress state arising from conflict between a person's gender identity and the sex the person has been identified as.
One more time.
A distress state arising from conflict between a person's gender identity and the sex the person has or was identified as having at birth. I kind of got mixed up here.
No, don't worry about it. We got the gist of it. So basically, it seems like there is an inner battle. What's going on? What you see on the outside and what they're dealing with on the inside. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, that's it.
That's exactly what it is.
Patsy,
Disorder.
Go say that again, Sean.
I say, yeah, once again, disorder.
Exactly.
That's what it is. But again, we try to dress it up real nice, make it look real cute.
And that's what our problem is, because we're always trying to placate and
that's why I said it's kind of fictitious.
And try to make everyone inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to offend anyone, try to be all fancy with, chaos.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a world that consists of chaos, and we try to dress it up nice, make everybody fit to these little.
Yeah, they trying to sugarcoat the mess.
Yep, we know what it is.
I say all of that not to discredit those that feel that way, because I equate that to, just not to get off subject, but just to give you where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what someone who is who's anorexic, or because we can look at them and say, wow, you're super skinny, but in their eyes, when they look at themselves, they think they're fat.
They're fat, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how
definitely a mental disorder.
But that's what I think gender identification. I think that's what that is as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It is.
then
basically.
there's a chemical imbalance somewhere going on the inside.
And I do think that is due largely in part because society and certain let me say infrastructures these little groups that have a lot of influence and stuff. We're trying so hard not to offend certain groups, and they don't have no problem with offending us with the choices and the decisions that they make that directly impact society as a whole. So if you're not with us, you're against us. One of those situations. But I digress. Somebody want to give us the definition of gender reassignment?
Okay.
It's just what it is. Gender reassignment.
Okay,
You are
let's
reassigning your gender,
good,
which
Timmy.
means
Good. That's
In
the
other
layman's
words,
term.
having
Good. You
sex
kept it
surgery.
simple. Go ahead, Patsy.
Having sex surgery.
Okay.
So,
Tanya.
in other words, you're changing one genitalia for
For
another.
another.
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Disagreeing with God.
Well,
Well, that's what it really is, boils down to, disagreeing with God, but that means you truly don't believe in God if you're really feeling like that,
so let me say this to you guys. So during my research about this topic, I saw a lot of I watched, I listened, and I saw a lot of stuff that was depressing. It was just mind-boggling because these people were allowing children to make these decisions. So I saw one where a young lady said that she was 6 years old, and they was talking to her, and she said she knew that she was a boy ever since she was 2 years old. Now, okay, real quick, I don't know. 6 years old, you're still a baby, you're still a little kid. How do you know that you are a little boy if you was born a little girl? Sean, you want to answer that?
What the last part of that statement that you said?
Yeah.
How do you? I think at 6 years old, because what's 6 years old? First grade,
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, for some of us, we can remember certain things in our lives and remember how we feel about something. So maybe that individual or that child was recalling how she may have been around boys and
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
felt like she wanted to be like the boys.
Uh-huh.
That's what I was
And
going to say
so,
too, Sean.
because that's what she may have felt like, meaning like she wanted to do what the boys do, she uh, internalized it as I felt like I was a boy because I wanted to be like the boys.
But remember, she said
But
she
that's
knew
also
this
a
since she was
cliche.
two.
There's also a cliche that if you see boys playing with girl doll babies, that he got to be funny because he's playing with doll babies. Now that person might just like to do hair. He getting his crap and skills up on doing hair. I know I learned how to braid on the doll baby's hair. So do that make me funny because I learned how to braid uh on the doll baby's hair?
I don't know,
Uh,
does it?
you gotta
No,
ask
no,
yourself that.
I'm just
I'm
asking
just
the
messing
I
with
was
you.
question.
gonna say, I
I'm
think
just
it's
messing
because
with you,
kids are
Timmy.
impressionable, and when that impression is being allowed to be perceived by the child in the household that they're a girl and they're a boy, or they're a boy and they're a girl, that's where it stems from no redirection or people just going with the flow, saying, "Yeah, I think that she really was a boy since she was 2." That doesn't make no sense because you
No,
mold a child all the way
your
to a
mind is
certain
still
age.
developing.
Yep. All right. So let's be clear about this. Let's get Rob in the discussion.
I don't think that just because a girl plays basketball don't mean that she ain't girly, and just
Right.
because if a chick plays football doesn't mean that she ain't girly, and if she plays lacrosse or something like that, which is all supposed to be games that men play, right?
Well,
It's supposed.
let's be clear about this, right? We're talking about
That's what
gender
I'm saying.
identity.
So
So it's
just
what they identify with. So it's not a
yes,
fact of
but
the.
what I was saying is that because of that, people, make assumptions. Oh, she plays like a boy. Oh, she's rough like a dude. Stuff like that. So they put them in a box. And then you put somebody in the box. They thinking that.
All right, so wait, I want to get Robert into this conversation. Robert, you've been quiet, so I don't know if you're having mic problems, but I'm gonna ask you the
He
question.
just came back.
So just so we clear, this child, I'll say it to you again. She was 6 years old having this conversation with someone, and she said that she knew that she was a boy. She wanted to be a boy ever since she was 2 years old, because she said that's what she identified. So they're having this conversation with a 6-year-old that wants to live her life as a boy. So that
Baby,
I just want to be clear about that. Let Robert answer that question. Robert,
She's 6 years old, right?
she's 6 years old. She's having a conversation with someone, and she states that she knew that she identifies as a boy. She identified with being a boy ever since she was 2 years old. How do you feel about that?
Me, and I'm not trying to hurt any young one's feelings, but I strongly and truly believe at 6 years old, your mind yet to develop to make some serious decisions like that. You could be around your peers or your family members that is is a great influence because you see this boy living his life this way, having fun that way, dressing a certain type of way, and you want to be a tomboy, or mimic how he lives as a boy. She's too young to even make an important decision like that, and her parents, if they allow it to happen, they might be robbing her from who she really can become later on in life as a female.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
What I'm stressing is you guys got to remember this is a 6-year-old saying that she knew that she identified with being a boy ever since she was 2 years old. 2 years old.
That's why it's not adding up to me.
It's
She
the parents.
her
The,
mind is not
it's the
even
parents.
developed to
Mm-hmm.
even try to think that she's a boy or a girl. She knows that they told she was a girl from birth. They could have told this little girl at the age of 2, "Hey, baby boy, how
big
you
boy,
doing?
yeah,
You're a
yeah.
boy," and she would have believed that she was a boy because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they told her she was, and that's what they raised her right off the rip as a boy. But at the age of 2, you're over here pooping, peeing, and diapers, probably still pull ups, using a certain amount of vocabulary, still some of them being breastfed. You don't know what you want to be right now.
Because do we have a high level of critical thinking at 2 years old? Kiana,
No.
Nah.
Their
You're
mind's not
still
developed enough.
you're still exploring on what not to do and what you can do.
all right, let's get Kiana in this discussion. Kiana, 2 years old, do you have a high level of critical thinking?
I don't believe that you do, but again, kids, if you've been telling a baby since they were a baby that they're a pretty girl or they're a handsome boy, by 2 they kind of have an idea that they're a boy or a girl.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you should have been a boy. You should have
So,
been a girl.
so just so I'm clear about this,
And then that's the parents' perception of right and wrong, right? Because
so
it
that's what I
Yeah.
depends
was.
on what you think is right and wrong.
So
Do
that's
you
what I
think
was.
it's okay for the kid, the little boy, to be calling himself a girl as a
So
parent?
again, if anybody just joined this conversation, we're talking about what would you do if your child wanted to undergo a gender reassignment. So just jump right in there, make yourself known. But I think
Yeah, that's child abuse to me, right there. That's child abuse.
now hold that thought, Gregory. I think that we need some video education. You want to go ahead and show the first video? We're gonna see what the so-called professionals say.
Okay, we're gonna play. I gotta play this. From the Hill, it says the mother of a transgender boy in Texas went viral this week after making an emotional plea to state lawmakers about a bill that would make it illegal for parents to provide gender-affirming healthcare, quotes around that, procedures for their children. Under the bill, parents aiding their transgender children in receiving medical care, including puberty suppressant drugs, medical procedures, and hormone replacement therapy, would be labeled abusers, and their actions would be considered a felony if the child is under the age of 18. Great law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Amber Briggle, who's the mother of a quote-unquote trans boy, didn't like it. She spoke out during a legislative session, and this went viral. A lot of you go girl type of responses from the left. Let's listen to what she had to say.
Good afternoon. My name is Amber Briggle, and I am terrified to be here today. I'm terrified because I'm the parent of a transgender child, and I'm afraid that by speaking here today, my words will be used against me should SB 1646 or SB 1311 pass, and my sweet son, whom I love more than life itself, will be taken from me. But here I am. I want you to know how hard it is for me to be here today. Not only am I terrified for the future of my family, but I'm a small business owner with 2 children at home who are still going to public school 100% online. I have a million better things to do than be here today, like rebuilding my business and supervising my children's online learning and repairing the damage that occurred to my home when the electric grid failed. But this committee and the bill's authors somehow deems my son's private medical care more important than COVID relief for women-owned small businesses or making public schools safer or fixing ERCOT.
Okay, I want to stop it there for just 1 second. She has about 3.5 minutes. We're not going to play the whole thing. I'll have some mercy on you. But she has about 3.5 minutes to make her point, give her little speech.
So, all right, I don't know if you guys got the gist of that, but basically that woman was talking about, we didn't even get into deeper, I'm not sure what happened with that video, but this woman is basically saying that they saw fit to basically make her child's his private medical information public. And they used that as the premises or the basis for passing the bill. Am I correct in saying that? Is that what you guys heard?
Yeah.
They're trying to.
No, she was scared that she can go to jail because of the bill that they're trying to pass is going to make it so that whoever is letting their kids get this gender reassignment before the age of 18, they're going to be arrested. They're going to be incriminated.
Yeah. All right, let's stop right there. Now, so
like I said, Dave.
Wait a minute.
It's child abuse. It's child abuse. They label it as child abuse.
So that's what the legal beagles say. That's what they say. They say it's considered to be child abuse. They're saying that the legal age for gender reassignment is 18. However, there are cases where they have performed this at an earlier age than 18 due to they said that it was going to do more damage to let the child continue to struggle, being something that they did not identify with. So they went ahead and allowed the medical procedure in an attempt to supposedly save this individual's life. Sean, you were saying something?
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, you guys want to comment on that? So how do you feel about that? Let's talk about that. Legal age 18. Anybody, whatever parent it is, mother, father, guardian, allows this child to undergo a gender reassignment, it is considered to be illegal. How you guys feel like that? Let's go to Sean first and Patsy.
I feel that the age should be a little higher, meaning 21.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm against it altogether, but if it's going to be a right that they have, I think the age should be as high as 21.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it's it's something that if that's what they want to do, then they should be able to. This is just me as a parent, foot the bill for it, whatever the case may be, however that works out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
Timmy, let him finish. Let him
yeah,
I
finish.
go
think
ahead.
I think it should be the age of 21.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's your reasoning. Okay, real quick, Timmy, because then I want to go to Patsy. So you're basically
Nah, I was
forfeiting.
just gonna say that you are a young adult at the age of 18, 19, and 20, right? You were heading towards that adult stage, which is supposed to be 21, right? So that's why they call them young adults at 18. That's why they can make adult decisions at 18. So I believe 18 is cool, but like you said, if they really want to do it, then hey, they have to get up that money and be able to do it on their own.
Okay, let's get Patsy. Patsy, jump in there. So, do you think that's a good age? Do you think that's a good law to pass?
Yes, because like if they're under 18, like as a parent, you're talking with your child, and you're essentially allowing them to make that decision. But 18 should be across the board law, and it should be a requirement, like, because I know I watch, like, I don't know if anybody's watched that show, I Am Jazz, and they kind of
Yes,
go
Jenny.
through, yeah, her. So you kind of watch, like, throughout the years, like, of what she had to do to actually get approved to have the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she actually had to do was like do therapy, emotional therapy, have a therapist
Mm-hmm.
to really make sure she understood some of that. But I think they should really have more medical understanding. This is what that does. The hormone block is this the just to go in depth instead of like, and especially like dealing with that emotional part of this, how they're feeling
Mm-hmm.
before the actual thing, because it's kind of like having um weight loss surgery. You have to understand the whole
The risk.
emotional stuff that you're going through with your weight. So it's kind of like in that same sense,
Mm-hmm.
but with the dysphoria of your body dysphoria,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like you're in the wrong body. You were born one way, but this is how you feel and that you got the wrong gender assignment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gregory, how you feel
I
about
feel
that?
like that lady was kind of mentally ill. Because if y'all listen to her at the beginning, her son is supposedly identifying as a transgender child. And then she called him her sweet boy, even though she been telling a kid that he's a girl. This is craziness. So you address him as a boy to the public, but you're telling a kid behind closed doors that he's a girl. That's really nuts. So I can understand why they used to lock people up like her, but I don't agree with
He was
all their
born a
tactics
girl,
because
and now she's a boy.
All right, go ahead, Kiana. Go ahead, jump in. How you feel about it? The law.
Hold on a second. Come back to me.
Okay. Tanya?
Yeah.
Now you remember Chelsea.
Wait, Timmy. Wait. Let everybody get a chance. Tanya?
Yes.
Same question. How you feel about them passing a law that any child that wants to undergo gender reassignment has to be 18 years of age, and if not, it's considered to be illegal and it's child abuse at that point. How you feel about that?
Well, let me see how I can put this. Society say when you're 18, you're a young adult.
Yeah.
But you're mentally not there.
Age does not dictate maturity.
You haven't reached that maturity until now they're trying to say 25. If you was going to college and your parents were separated and your kid was in school, you have to pay that child support till they're 25. And then I think that before you should be in therapy and talking to someone. It should be a holistic approach to this whole situation about reaffirming surgery. You got to talk to a psychologist. You got to know about what your choices are and how it affects your body, how you will be affected mentally. I think it should be a holistic approach.
Okay. Robert, same question.
Well, we start off in elementary, then we go to middle school, then we go to high school, then we go to college if we want to. I think they should have the same approach, educating themselves, let the children, start off in elementary. You think you want to be this, or your parents think they want you to become this. Start off in that level. Then, a few years later, we'll move you up to middle school and give you some more education. Then high school come with some more education. Meaning you really got to do a deep research before you just rush into anything. Because this little boy that you turned into a little girl, or this little girl that you turned into a little boy, they cannot reverse this gender reassignment.
You got it. Reassignment.
They cannot reverse this. So it's gonna play a great deal on their mental. Some might not be able to cope with it later when they be like, "Oh, I don't want to be this girl no more. I want to be a man again." And nobody. It's kind of a little bit too late. So it could be suicidal.
It's a high level of suicide.
It is. It's definitely suicidal.
Just so we fair, so Kiana, are you back?
Nah, not sure.
All right. So did everybody get a chance to answer? All right. So just
I'm here. I'm sorry.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
All right, Kate. So the question is, and so anybody else that just joined us, just feel free after Kiana answers the question to make yourself known, and then you answer the question, and then we're gonna move on to the next question. Kiana, same question. So do you think that 18 is a fair age to allow this gender reassignment to take place? And anything beforehand is considered to be illegal and child abuse?
I don't think it's illegal or child abuse, but I agree with Sean. I believe that it should be in the 20s something because, you know, truth be told, you don't have your full cognition of yourself until you're in your late 20s. So you making a life altering decision before early mid 20s, I think shouldn't happen. And I know we don't have, people get cosmetic surgery and do whatever they want to themselves all the time, but I think that is one where the age should be pushed as far back as possible, because again, once you turn a vagine into a peen, there's not really too much going back and forth. So, yeah, no.
So let's stay right there. So did everybody get a chance? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll go on to the next one. So, do you think that children should be allowed to make adult decisions? Because affirmative care says, Tanya, do you have the definition for affirmative care?
Yeah, hold on. I got it. It's affirmative care is patient-centered and treats individuals holistically, aligning their outward physical traits with their gender identity. So basically their inner traits.
So again, like I told you guys, there's been cases young as 6 years old, and these children they're in therapy. They're meeting early on so that they can at some point make this transition. And by the time these children go from preschool, let's say what is that, elementary to middle school, they're now undergoing they're partaking in puberty blockers. Tanya, you want to get the definition of what a puberty blocker is?
Yeah. A puberty blocker, also called puberty inhibitors, or hormone blockers, are medicines used to postpone puberty in children.
Say that last word again.
What the medicines used to postpone puberty in children?
That's right. Timmy, mute your phone. All right. So again, if it clearly says it in it, it's these are decisions that are being made towards children, and they're allowing children to head up the discussion.
What wicked person went into that lab and created these pills? That's what I want to know. What was the point? What was the purpose? What made you think, hey, today I'm gonna go in there and make a pill where these kids can't go through puberty? Yeah, that is some real mad scientist stuff to me. I just can't think of why they would have did it.
Because again, I feel like the people have their own ulterior motives. Their own agenda.
Maybe some of them that developed those pills had children that they wanted to be the opposite sex, or it was just a money thing. We're gonna get money.
Okay, can I say something on?
Or maybe
on
they were stealing kids and they was trying to change their genders.
Okay, go ahead, Patsy.
But you know what? The hormone blockers were created for a totally different thing. It's like, okay, what's that thing that thing in your neck that controls your hormones? Sometimes you have like a hormone that kind of like overproduces hormones within your own body. So whoever came out like with the medicine that helped to control that, because it's like a type of cancer that kind of like that's in your body that kind of help does too much hormones, and it doesn't regulate your body, doesn't regulate the hormones as it should. So that's where the hormone medication came in. that was for really a real serious medical condition. So hormone medication was geared towards that, right?
Uh-huh.
But as time evolved with children saying, "Oh, I feel like, I was born in the wrong body and blah 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 blah," and that's where they decided, like, okay, well, we'll work with this family because this child says, I feel like I was born in the wrong body with the body dysphoria and blah blah blah. They just took those hormone blockers on another level.
Mm-hmm.
When it was medically for a really serious
Purpose condition.
medical issue.
Treatment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was treatment for a medical life or death medical issue.
Mm-hmm.
And they took that and said, well, we could use these hormone blockers for children to whatever, to
see again.
To puberty.
You guys keep saying and coming back to this again. Children. Again, we're talking about children. So
exactly.
why are we?
That was the part that I was.
Things? Why are we doing these drastic things? Kiana, you want to jump in there about this these puberty blockers?
I think she might have had technical difficulties. She's dropped out.
All right. So, Gregory, then Tanya, then Sean. How you feel about these puberty blockers? Oh, you already stated what type of madman or individual.
Yeah, who decided that we're gonna test these on children and see that if they're not gonna be able to develop a certain testosterone or estrogen in their body or whatever is going on.
All right, let's Tanya, can you make sense of this?
I have to just tell a personal story.
Okay.
When I was growing up, I knew someone who was, I don't know if the proper word is transgender. They had both a penis and a
hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
Yeah, hermaphrodite.
And so their childhood was really, really hard for them because they had people harassing them, teasing them, basically using them for sick games, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And eventually her mother, because you can see that they had breasts, but they also had like a full beard.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I just thought that the best thing that her mother did for her was to have her become a full man, because they were much happier.
So can I ask this question? Did they remove the breast and the vagina?
I don't know them details, but I know that when the hormones were, I don't know if she used hormone blockers or what, but the breast went away and she was more manly. And she was happy. I'm still saying she, but he was
happy now.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the bearded lady, the lady that used to be in the circus?
Yeah.
So, Sean, you want to try to make sense of this?
He had the werewolf syndrome.
Sean, you want to try to make sense of this?
It's don't know if I can. It's man, sorry, I'm stuttering. I don't know. It doesn't make any. I mean, I guess if it's going to help them in the long, I mean, I from what I understand, it's a short-term solution to what it is that, because when they do this hormone
blockade for the rest of their life.
Do they know? Are they even on the, like, what do they take it to prevent certain things from happening or to cause other things to happen?
Both ways. Both ways. Both ways.
Both ways.
Yep, both.
Well,
And
let me see,
so,
because
No, it's
I,
for both ways. So if a little girl do not want to grow her breasts and all that no more, she want to grow some facial hairs and all of that, that's what she
yeah,
going to use it for.
Yes.
If a little boy
Yeah.
want to grow breasts and not grow so much hair, he going to use it for that.
It
yeah,
and
also
this
And,
is
and it's gonna turn his voice higher.
yeah,
and so this is what parents are allowing their children to dictate to
exactly.
them that this is what they want done.
Exactly.
Again,
Exactly.
I
I
would say it got a lot to do with society as well.
Mhm.
With the kids is watching on TV and all that too.
Go ahead.
Now, Patsy, I was gonna say, I seen something with this guy, and he was creating the hormone drugs. He was testing it on the frogs at first, and the frogs, the ones that used to be male, would turn into complete females,
Well, I got
and the
news.
ones that was female would turn into complete males.
I got news for you. The frogs are no longer the test subjects. It's your children. Sean, you want to finish?
Yeah, real quick. So for me, this falls down on where we as a society are failing as parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because where did we get to the place to where our children dictate to us
Definitely.
is that we're supposed to be instilling in them?
Did everybody get a chance to answer that question? Anybody new?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, Gregory, let us skip the next video. And guys, please hold your comments until after the video's over.
What we're looking at is a picture of a young girl early on after her so-called top surgery and then a little later. Top surgery is the euphemism that's used to describe a double mastectomy for young girls with healthy breasts. So we're not talking about a pathology here. We're talking about the surgical removal of the entire breasts of a young girl because she's struggling with gender confusion or gender dysphoria. This is what is called gender affirming care. Gender affirming care is when you take a child's reported internal and subjective gender identity, and if it conflicts with his or her sexed body, you don't help her adjust to her body. You transform her body with drugs and scalpel to fit a distorted image of herself. There have been outrages done in the name of science and medicine throughout the last century. This is our generation's medical outrage, and we've got to do something about it.
So, guys, basically, we're back. That's the end of that video, right, Gregory?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So,
Yes, sir.
So basically, what's happening with the young ladies are they're removing their breasts, and this is again life altering decisions, and then they have to deal with this for the rest of their life. So what if these young ladies that are making these decisions again as adolescents, teenagers, decide that by the age of 25, they no longer want to live their life as a male, and they want to go back to being a female. And some of the things that define the female is their female parts, the breasts, the vagina, and things of that nature. Those are the things that distinguish women from men. So you're basically mutilating these young ladies, and then later on they got to deal with not having these things, and that's even more of a mental struggle for them. And
Nowadays, scientists says you can get new breasts, new butt, new leg, new arms. Because
but at what cost?
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars.
Financial and then
Now,
mental.
what I was gonna say is
financial
God
not
has
the
a
only cost.
God has a funny way of showing you that you're more than just physical flesh, because there's a thing called phantom limb. So if they cut off their breath and they're walking around, they still can feel their breath.
Yeah,
You
they
get
can
what I'm
also,
saying?
it's the mental pain,
And
too.
it's gonna mess with their mental ability.
Well, I have to say this about the breast. Okay. I would, like I said, it has to be a holistic approach. But if a woman had a double mastectomy because she had cancer, they have bras and things that that she can wear to make her feel as if she has breasts.
But see, that's the difference, Tig. We're talking about someone that had to have their breasts removed due to medical issues and stuff like that. Something that to save their life for cancer or something like that. Now we're talking about people like he said, these are healthy young ladies removing healthy breasts for simply because what he said, he corrected himself, but he did say because they're confused. And then he said dysphoria.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's confusing,
but they're basically the same thing.
Exactly. Tomato,
dysphoria and confusion is like just ultimately what it is, confusion.
So earlier when Sean,
same thing, Pat.
When Sean was at a loss for words, and it seems to be confusing, and it's more, it makes it out to be as more complex than what it is, because that's their intentions. So what is normal is no longer normal. So if you got an issue with their truth and what they perceive as normal, now you are the problem. So if you as a parent is not allowing this child to get this sex change, then you're automatically discriminating against the LGBTQ plus, what is it, IA now? So you're basically you're picking a fight with them. Not because you have an issue with your child making a decision that's going to be life altering. You're making a decision that basically it shuns them as a community. That's what I believe. Greg, how y'all feel about that video? Let's how you feel about that video, Sean?
It was wild. Again, it is. I'm learning some things tonight watching this. I'm still just speechless. It's amazing what we as a society are allowing to take place, and what we're
children. Well, we're
right,
children.
right. We're allowing children to do and dictate to us, to where we're firm on an age bracket for certain things, but then we're just almost like free willy-nilly with other stuff.
Mm.
And don't get it twisted, because the ladies, I don't that much send a chill through your body when you hear about the mutilation, the removal of healthy breasts. Now, there's the flip side to that. It's the male genitalia where they're just removing their penis and testicles. Now, again, I'm gonna ask you guys this. If you have a son, how do you feel about your son coming to you and saying, Dad, I'm 13 years old. I decided I want to live my life as a woman, so I want you to sign these papers so that in a year or so I can have my penis removed. Gregory, how you feel about that?
I feel like this might be a problem with the society, because my son's gonna get a beating. Okay. I don't know if these kids are still calling the cops on their parents and stuff, but I can see where they call the cops on some of their parents. But sometimes you need some discipline in that house. Ain't no way you about to get away with that at 13. You about to get your ass whooped.
All right, Robert, same question.
You flipped it on the boy now.
Yeah, we're talking about the boys. Yes.
Well, just a quick answer for all the women. I mean, that's trying to get their breasts cut off for their own self pleasures. There's a lot of medical side effects that they have to deal with. So you really need to do deep research because, as I know, there's probably more than 20 or 20, and it's really bad. So that gives you something to keep in mind. For the little boys that is begging their mother or father, parents, to get their how should we put this?
Penis
Their
removed.
their well, to get their penis spliced to become a vagina. Um,
Mhm.
I don't
No,
think
they
I
take
don't
the
think
muscle out.
Wait a minute, Timmy.
I don't think that's something me as a father would have sat down with my son while he was on this earth and said, "Okay, son, way to go! You're gonna finally be the daughter I was looking for." That nothing humorous about that. Um, I luckily had you as a boy. It was a gift, and I want to cherish that gift to the day you die or I die. So no, we would have went no, no, no. Let me introduce you to other things that occupy your mind, even if it ain't vagina. We can try some other things, sports, whatever. Let's keep you motivated.
Mm. Okay. Same question, Timmy. How would you feel if your child, your son, your male son came to you and said, I feel like I identify more so with a female, so I want to have gender reassignment.
Mm.
How do you
Ah,
respond?
they go see a therapist.
So
That's
you think
first and foremost.
so
That's
you
first and foremost.
mm-hmm.
And then, you got to go through the protocols to actually do something like that
Mm-hmm.
for me to actually to accept.
Okay.
Like everybody said, if you go through the protocols like getting therapy, like Robin said about the steps of going, through high school.
The
I
education
think
level,
that too.
elementary,
We
middle
should
school,
be
high
having
school.
all that therapy, emotional therapists, all that. Any type of therapy that you need to get your mind right as far as you making that big decision. Because it definitely is a critical decision that can, have significant play in your life, so you want to be sure, like everyone said, that you making that right choice and that you really, really want to be that person, then more power to you if you of age, more power to you.
Okay. Sean, same question. Ladies, I'm
The
gonna
question,
get to you. But Sean, go ahead.
repeat the question again, please. Thank
So
you.
basically, if your child, your male child, came to you and said, "Dad, I feel that I identify more so as with females as a female, and I would like to undergo a gender reassignment to become a female."
Well, number one, the him wanting to do that and it actually happening wouldn't happen under my watch, but we would definitely have a long conversation. I would try to figure out like, well, why? Like, what is your reasoning? What is your understanding of why you feel this way?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would try to really uh, dive into getting him because now I'm almost forcing. I'm on the flip side of it, forcing him to really tap into getting an understanding of why he thinks he feels this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then with my belief, I would try to show him that, well, you know how you're raised, you know what we believe in, and
Mm-hmm.
we believe that God doesn't make any mistakes.
That's right.
And so that would be my stance, and that's just, and the only and it's not even a debate. The only conversation or weapon, if you will, that I would have is I would constantly continue just keep using the word on what he was brought up on.
Okay. So just so we clear, you are talking about religion, God.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies, let's get your perspective. Kiana, you back? All right. We're gonna go to Patsy, then we're gonna go to Tanya. Go ahead, Patsy. How would you feel if a male child came to you and said, I identify more with the female sex and I would like to undergo a gender reassignment?
I kind of agree with Sean and Timmy. I wouldn't like sit down, talk with this child, and be like, "What do you mean you feel like this when you were born a boy?" Have that conversation and reiterate this is what we believe in with God.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the conversation, if they're still persistent about, oh, I feel like I'm in the wrong body, then I would be like, you know what? Before we do anything else, we're talking getting medical professional advice, and you're going to a therapist from now until whenever until like 18, 19, whatever years old, you know. So it's like there's a process. So I kind of like do a combination approach of talking, having that one-on-one conversation, and doing the therapy, but still throughout the years, like I want to be supportive of that child,
Mm-hmm.
but I also want to make sure, like you're still a child because it's like you're living under my roof.
Yeah.
It's my way or the highway, and we're not doing this before you're 18.
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
fair stance. Tanya, you want to tackle that question?
Well, I would leave where God makes no mistakes because of my relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And he made you just the way that you were. So he intended you to be with the gifts, with the wisdom. I would pray about it too. I would ask God to give me wisdom on how to handle this situation, on which way to go. I mean, I have to lead with the spirit and just give love,
Mm-hmm.
love, and have a holistic approach with therapy and behavioral therapy and just talking and praying and trying to show them in the word what God's purpose is for their lives.
Okay. So did everybody get a chance to answer that question?
Can I say this? I feel like it's too much free will. No other mammal that God created has the chance to decide I'm gonna change my sex or I'm gonna change my genitals that
Oh
God
no,
gave me.
sir.
No other mammal can do that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
No
sir.
other mammal can do that. No other mammal.
You got mammals that turn into males and whatnot.
No mammal.
It's
You
not
got
like
reptiles that do that and fish. You
so.
don't
So
got no
let's be clear about it. I don't think that
amphibious creatures.
those creatures have any gender dysphoria. I don't think they have any with gender identity disorders or
Yeah, they're not
identity
fighting in their
crisis and stuff
brains.
like
They
that.
want to be a boy or a
They're
girl.
not having those issues
No.
like
Yeah.
that. They're pre-equipped with
I'm
those
done.
things already. That's a part of God's creation. That's how He created them. So again, which Tanya and Sean said, it goes back to God makes no mistakes. This is man trying to usurp God, trying to replace God. They have a God complex, and they are experimenting on your child. Or basically, they're preconditioning them to think that this is okay, or you should think this way. And it's in the curriculum, It's in the television shows that they watch. It's in the music. It's everywhere. It's in the movies. Society tells your kid this is okay, and because we do not basically sift through the toxic things that our children are watching, these children are learning about adult issues while they're children, and they're not even mentally, emotionally ready to tackle these subjects. But you got therapists and you got behavioralists say if they feel this way, then it should be treated as something. It's important. And
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
And this has to do with why is the politicians and the government passing these laws about gender identity, and they won't pass law and saying that they're thinking of the children, of the kids, and they're not passing no laws about guns that's killing the kids.
Because they have their own hidden agendas. And I don't and let me be clear about this to answer that question. I don't think the politicians' agendas are hidden these days. I think they're rather blatant. Again, it's like we dress it up, we make it look cute, and we present it to society in the way that, okay, here it is, deal with it because it ain't going away. And then you make these problems, and then later on, these children, they lose themselves, and then they commit suicide, because that's the other thing they're not telling you. There is a high rate of suicide with transgenders. You know what? I feel like we need more video. Gregory, go to the next video.
To California. California has now declared itself a sanctuary state for adults who want to sexually mutilate their children in the name of gender ideology. One father in Texas called Jeff Younger now fears that his ex-wife is taking advantage of this deranged law that we will all be ashamed of a generation from now. She's just moved to California with their 9-year-old son. She is convinced that the boy is actually a girl.
You're a boy, right?
No, I'm a girl.
Who told you you were a girl?
Mommy.
And when did she tell you you were a girl?
I love girls.
Oh, I see. So mommy told you you were a girl?
Uh-huh.
Does mommy do anything else like with a girl with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Play doll, baby.
What does she do?
She do put them on me.
She puts dresses on you? Oh, wow.
No, that's just the saddest thing. That's a child. Well, Jeff Younger, the father of that boy, went to the Texas Supreme Court to try to protect his son. He wanted an order to prevent his ex-wife from having the boy sexually mutilated in the state of California, but the court rejected his petition in an 8-1 vote. Shocking. Jeff Younger joins us tonight. Mr. Younger, thank you very much for coming on. We watched that video and it just hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first iPhone video I ever took, and my blood ran cold when I realized what she had planned for that boy. And, it escalated to eventually she registered him in school as a girl. I had to shut that down. So the Capel School District began to secretly transition my son. I'd bring my son to school in boys' clothes, and they'd give him a dress and make him use the girls' restroom. And it even escalated further where she began to present him to the world as a girl. I lived under temporary orders from a court where I wasn't even allowed to tell my son that he was a boy, where I had to present him to the world as a girl. And, his twin brother got completely confused by all this. We wound up going to a 2019 trial where the courts gave me 50-50 custody and joint conservator rights to check her ability to transition my son. And the corrupt Democrat establishment in Dallas County transferred my case into the 301st District Court with Judge Mary Brown, and she never implemented the trial with a jury verdict, and has, through temporary orders, stripped me of all my parental rights and eventually allowed my ex to move to California right before, just a few days before, the sanctuary law in California went into effect.
So it's so upsetting. I mean, we're talking about destroying a child's life. 9 Even last year, people who were in favor, who believed that you could change sexes by active will, even they would concede 9 was too young. Now we're just completely off the rails.
Yes.
Did any adult in authority step up to help you and protect this 9-year-old boy?
No. She started transitioning when he was 2. She tried to enroll him in a gender clinic when he was 5, the Genesis Clinic in Dallas, Texas. The pediatrician's records show that she intended to chemically castrate him at age 8 or 9, his current age, and then he magically moves to California. I don't think this is an accident. Absolutely no one in the state of Texas has stood up for me except for Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General. I went to the legislature on 2 sessions, and by some quantitative measures, I generated more political power for a bill against transgender child abuse than for any bill in Texas history. Some offices were recording 300 lobbyists a day on my bills. We could not get that bill passed because the Speaker of the House, Dave Phelan, blocked those bills from passage. So the legislature did nothing. The governor did not mobilize the agencies to protect Texas children from these abusive procedures, sterilization and chemical castration. Did nothing. I could not get the executive branch to move. I thought I would get relief in the appellate courts, in the judicial branch, and I go up to the Texas Supreme Court, and they determined absurdly that my wife is no more likely to transition my son in California under the sanctuary laws than she would in Texas. And absurdly, not even really reading Senate Bill 107, claims that we can enforce an injunction against her in California when a plain reading of the bill says that they will not enforce these injunctions, they will not obey subpoenas, they will not obey extradition, and they will not return the children to me under any circumstances.
At some point, all of these children will be adults, and they're going to look at us, the adults who should have been protecting them.
They will.
With rage, yeah. But not you. You've done your best. And our heart goes out to you, for real, and your boy. Jeff Younger, thank you.
Would you do if your child wants to undergo gender transition?
Let's go to Timmy first. So wait, before we even get there, let's just review. So let's just be clear. Mom decides during a separation or divorce that she is going to start presenting her 2-year-old child, which happens to be a twin. They're both boys, and she decided that she's going to take one of them and present them to the world as a girl at 2 years old, and she starts to make a transition. So from 2 to 9, she is doing things with the schools, the courts, and everything, presenting the case to protect her decision to make this gender transition, because she decided that this child should be a girl. You heard the kid. He said, "Mommy told me this." And so when the father goes and tries to right or wrong, so to speak, make some sense of this, there's laws that are being used against him, so he can't even basically protect his child from the co-parent that is obviously doing something that's going to affect the child in the long run. So again, guys, 9 years old, and the mother is using this. It almost seems like she's using the child as a pawn, a weapon to hurt the father. Again, so Timmy, go ahead, jump on that.
Uncle Rob, you got your camera on.
Timmy, you want to answer that? All right. Sean, you want to go ahead and tackle that?
I'm going to tell the last part of your question because I want to hit that part.
Okay. You want me to say it again?
Yes, please.
Okay, so mom decides during the divorce that she's going to stop presenting her 2-year-old son, which is the twin of another boy, as a girl to the world. Not only did she stop dressing him in girls' clothing and treating him as such, she went to the courts and stuff and started filing the paperwork and stuff to make a transition. And she started presenting him as such in the schools, and took it a step further. So the father was barred against calling his son his son. He had to refer to his son as a girl, as a daughter, because mom went to court and got some type of, I don't know, some legal document that said he had to do so. Again, under the guise that this is what this kid identifies with, so we need to respect this, and because it would mess with their developmental phases. So again, how you feel about that? Mom might be using this child as a weapon to hurt dad, and it's confusing. Did they say to the child's twin brother, because he knew his brother to be a boy, and mom
A
is
sister. A sister.
his brother was born a boy like him, and now his mother is telling him that his brother is his sister. Go ahead, Sean.
Again, it's where we as parent society have failed, to where it is like this lady's mental capacity is just warped. It's just really, really warped, and for whatever reason, she is allowing this to be. Is just, I mean, there's no, I don't have an explanation for it. I just think people are really, really sick or confused out there.
I think that mom I'll take it a step further. I think mom's being a little bit wicked in that situation.
What makes you think the mother's being wicked? Why can't the father be wicked? The father.
Okay, I'll say to you
because the father said that was his very first video that he did, which Tucker Carlson be putting up stuff that screws towards what he believes, and they have a lot of misput information out there without no facts.
Okay, so
did he fact check that, father?
I don't. So let's be clear about this, right? Tucker Carlson, whatever his agenda is, right? That might you know more about him. So like you said, he has a habit of being one-sided. But I think the important picture is, right, to look at the fact, how is this affecting, let's say Tucker did have his own hidden agenda, right? How is this affecting the child? Because the child was clear about this. His mother told him that he is a girl. You see what I'm saying? So that's the part that we have to deal with. Whatever Tucker's intentions was, we have to hear, you know what they say, out of the mouths of babes come the truth. Right?
That's just
like he did a selective viewing of the January 6th insurrection. This dude be selectively picking videos and stuff that were aligned with what his story is. But forget all of that. What I'm saying is we don't have no background about what this man and this woman, why they was getting divorced in the first place, or if he even treated the child differently.
All right,
well, he showed some evidence.
Or he's using him as a pawn himself.
But okay, and I hear what you're saying on that, but what does that have to do with the fact that this child is saying that mommy is the one that's telling me that I'm a girl, that he's going to court trying to block all of this stuff from identifying his child as a girl when he's clearly a boy?
Yes. Now,
what does that have to do with
just
that
take
part
Tucker off the equation. Take Tucker off the
that's
equation.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Not even Tucker. I'm gonna stick with Tom, because she said, how do we know that the father's not being wicked? Well, we don't know if he's being wicked. We're just talking about what he's presenting to us as far as what's going on with his child and what the mother is influencing.
And his rights.
And all the different battles that he's having to deal with.
Well, she's not there to defend herself, is what I'm saying. So
T, let me ask you this in another way. Does the mother require defending, or does the child need to be defended?
The child needs to be defended, but what I'm saying is that Tucker got them on there using them as pawns, is what I'm saying, to further his story, his agenda. He don't care about either one of them.
Who do you feel like his agenda?
But even let's just say that was the case. We don't know what his agenda is, but he did present a story to us, and that's what we're speaking on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say he showed
But
you the
okay, but
evidence
speak on
that
it.
he
But then,
lost the case. He's losing the case in Texas. That's
Yeah,
where they was,
he
right?
went to all these court
Yeah,
And then he
circuits.
went to California
but
with
just
them,
the
and
fact
he's
that he
losing
said
that case.
Democratic court lets you know that it's political.
Yeah, well, all right.
Well,
So
I mean, all laws are political.
hits the fact that they're telling you 18 that they have to be that age to get the reassignment operation, but then there's cases where they allow them to do it at a certain age earlier than 18 based upon the state that they live in. So like Patsy said earlier, the law should be uniform. It should be across the board. If it's 18 in Massachusetts, then it should be 18 everywhere because that allows.
Yeah,
And
from
so
here to California and
That's right.
down to
and
Texas
so
and all through the Midwest.
You see what
So
she
what he
did?
was saying, Miss Tanya, when he made the statement about the Democratic ruling, this, that, and the other, you got to remember each state has it. It all depends on which party is running in that particular state, and that's why. Because I believe that if it was the courts were more of the Republicans being in there, he probably would have threw that out there like that.
No, he
You
wouldn't.
know what? Okay, let me say this. When I heard him say Democratic, he wasn't talking about any specific. It's just like the democratic process of how they pass the law.
Right,
That's
right.
what I was
Democracy.
hearing.
Okay, so let's be clear. So
Well,
let's
Dave, listen, Dave,
go ahead.
you heard a such thing as we all had children. You have parents and heirs.
Yeah,
There's a such thing as a child's cry.
exactly.
That child cried out for help. We're overlooking what the child said. What are you? Well, I'm a girl. Why you feel that way? My mama told me I'm a girl. Okay, I'm sending my son fully dressed as a young man, a little boy to school.
With
They
his
take
brother,
off his
with his
clothes.
twin brother. Don't forget that
They,
part.
they take off his clothes and put on a dress inside school on this little kid.
And
in front of his twin brother.
Made me inclined to believe the teachers are involved in this with moms.
Yeah.
If moms ain't going up to the school
that's
right
what
after he brought him to school and switching him into a dress, the teachers are allowing him to use the little girl's
Yeah, they
restroom.
even showed
If
pictures
moms
Tanya.
of
ain't
him
going
in
up there
school
on
with the dress.
bathroom break and doing it
Because
herself.
he's registered at that school as a
As a
girl,
girl.
which is
And,
crazy.
and that's because
That's the point.
the courts played him
Yeah,
when
exactly.
he went to
But
court,
see,
and you see how she moved before they passed
She
that
did.
law.
Tanya, that's my point. That's why I said I believe mom's being wicked because she's going out her way to make sure he has no say, right? Now legally, he's supposed to have all these rights, right? But she went to these courts and she even took it so as far to move to a state where she knew that they would allow this to take place. So again, I ask you, do you think mom is being wicked?
Do I think she being wicked?
Yeah, about her approach.
And I can't say if she's being wicked or not because we don't know. She could be running from something on top of all of this.
No.
What does that have to do with what she's doing to her child?
Yeah,
what she's doing to the kid is
to the
wicked.
kid. See, that's what we're talking about to the kid.
Okay.
You think her behavior?
Right. I'm not arguing about it no more because y'all all jumping on me.
No.
I'm not arguing about it.
We're just trying to.
I'm done.
We're just trying to show you that there
discussion.
is a lack of consideration on mom's behalf. She doesn't care how the father feels. This is my son. I spent him out. I'm going to do whatever I want to do and raising him. You over there, you pretty much don't have no say so.
So
I mean, at what point is this legal brainwash? This is like legal brainwash. You're legally brainwashing my kid.
I'll take it a step further. I gave birth to twin boys. But somewhere along the line, I decided I wanted one girl and one boy. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you'll do.
But who's to say that that's how she was acting? Y'all don't. When you carrying twins, one twin can get more chromosomes than the other. That changes how they act.
But
that
see,
changes their makeup.
Let's remember. She said this he said this started at 2 years old.
2
So
years old.
Who's influencing this child? The
Mom.
parent.
Okay, can I jump in now? Because okay, these boys were apparently must have been identical twins, right? So they got the same identical amount of
The same identical genes. You right.
But we don't even see the
exactly.
other kid to say that they was identical twins.
Okay, so
exactly.
Does it matter? They were born both boys.
We know that.
Let me finish my thought. My thought on the mom, right? She's really selfish and twisting it up and telling the boy, "Oh, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl," and brain. She's the one brainwashing
him.
That one twin. And not only that, she wanted a girl overall, anyways, right? So
That's what people like that do.
get pregnant again and hoping that she born a girl, right? With that next baby. All she needed to do was keep trying to get a girl. But no, she wanted to switch it up and be selfish and manipulative. And then she's gonna destroy, and she's already confusing both those boys.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Because the one that she's not messing with, we're saying that
confused.
he's a girl. The other twin is gonna be messed up, and they're gonna be like both having identity
crisis. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because you said the other brother don't think that he's a girl now because the brother.
I'm about to tell you.
They're gonna be really effed up.
Yeah, it's gonna
Billy,
be.
it's like Billy knew his brother to be Brian.
This other little boy to think that this stuff is right.
Yeah, this
and
is
now all of a sudden,
this is long-term damage.
Brian is Brenda.
Into Brenda.
So Billy knew Brian was Brian. Now Brian's Brenda. Next week, Billy's gonna be Beth because she don't have a crisis in her mental, and she want to turn Billy into Beth now.
Yeah. Imagine the other little brother getting made fun of.
Patsy,
by kids.
if she went on to make
both gonna get bullied throughout.
That's my
thing. Your brother's a girl.
Yeah, but I'm about to say this to Patsy
it's
too.
A crew, yo.
Patsy, if she would have made another baby in hopes to thinking she was gonna get a girl, she can keep doing that. And don't get a girl and just keep having boys.
Now she's gonna turn all
switching boy after boy into a girl.
She's gonna turn all them
that baby.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep this in perspective. Let's keep this within the guideline of the discussion. So again, we are talking about what would you do if your child wants to undergo gender reassignment. Now, again, in this situation, in these videos and stuff like that, what is shown is that there's a lot of people that have influence on these children are saying that these are the children's feelings. But it seems like that these children are being preconditioned to think this way and behave this way. So the one thing we haven't talked about, what happens when the child gets older and they, in effect, regret the decisions that were made early on. Gregory, we got a video about that?
Daddy.
That's too bad.
Gregory?
Yes, I do. I'm about to get to it right now.
Show both of those back to back. Show both of them back to back.
Yeah, that's too bad because there's no redoing once
I
you
said that. I alluded to
undo.
that earlier. You cannot reverse that situation.
Yeah.
You can't. When you're
it becomes suicide.
Since I was pretty young, there's a lot of messages that said, if you feel bad about your body, that means you're trans. I was just going through this period of like, I don't like how I'm treated as a cis person. I don't want to be cis because cis means you're uncool and you're privileged and you're an oppressor and you're bad, and I don't want to be that. In that way, I was really incentivized to try to figure out a way to make my voice heard in these communities. And obviously I can't change my race. I can't really change my sexuality. So the only thing left was to start playing around with the gender stuff. So I decided to call myself a demi-girl, which is one of the 40 million genders. And that basically means that I'm mostly a girl, but I'm a little bit not a girl, which is just like, what does that even mean? And then after that, I went to demi-boy. And then after that, I went to gender fluid. And after that, I eventually went to trans boy. But all this took like 2 or 3 years of just going through this repetitive cycle of changing this identity and changing it again. And it was just never enough.
Oh, tell us, how you got with it?
There was a lot of hopelessness for a long time, a lot of regret. The feeling of regret was intense.
What?
Ah, it's a moving interview, and there's a lot more of it in the episode. Helena joins us on set now. Helena, thanks so much for coming on. There's something so sad about that. First of all, thank you for speaking up, because your voice does matter, I think, in this conversation. But you felt what every young woman I've ever met felt at a certain age, which is uncomfortable with yourself. And it feels like you were exploited at that moment of weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, it's completely normal for not only young
That's
girls,
that
but often
goddamn
young
Tucker
boys too, to feel
Carlson.
uncomfortable with themselves, uncomfortable with their body. But we have this ideology that is especially prevalent online that says that if you have those feelings, that means you're trans. I mean, there are literally people who say, if you don't even like your voice on a recording, that's a sign of gender dysphoria, and you need to go see a medical professional because you're trans.
Talk about taking advantage of people. So how do you, and this is all explained in greater depth in the documentary, but how do you feel now at 23 looking back on what happened?
I feel honestly grateful for the experience because it's taught me a lot about the world and about myself, but I really feel afraid for these other young girls like myself who they might not be. You know, I consider myself lucky that I was able to get out of it unscarred really medically, but there's so many young people who can't say the same, and psychologically as well. I mean, it's just devastating to, especially from a young age, be lied to by adults at school and by medical professionals and told that your body is wrong, you need to change it, you need to get hormones, you need to get surgeries. That's devastating for a young person. So I'm just really concerned for younger girls and boys like I once was, being led down this path. And being hurt by it.
It's a failure of male leadership, of adult leadership, and it does seem like some of the steps are medically irreversible.
Absolutely. I mean, there's all sorts of, you know, the White House actually just put out a chart yesterday that says that some of these steps are reversible or partially reversible, but that's such an oversimplification of the truth. I mean, when you go on a cross-sex hormone, like that's going to give you not just physical changes, but psychological experiences that you can't just act like they never happened. You can't just take it back. And especially with surgeries, you know, a breast implant after a mastectomy is not the same thing as never having your breast taken off in the first place. So there's a lot of young women who are going through that, who had a double mastectomy at 16, 17, 18 years old, or even younger, that happens, who, you know, there's nothing you can really do to put that feeling of oneness and safety in your body back.
It's heartbreaking. I hope people are hearing you with open minds, with tolerance. Are they?
There's a lot of people out there, especially parents, who are really thankful for what I'm saying because they see that their young girl or their young boy is going through this, and the school is telling them, you need to affirm them, they're trans, you need to transition them. All their doctors are telling them you need to transition them. And these parents, they know that their child should not be having these cosmetic procedures. So there's a lot of parents who are really thankful. There are other young people who are really thankful that I'm saying what I'm saying, but obviously, you know, you have the trans activists and the trans community that exhibits some very unhealthy kind of cult-like dynamics who are really upset about this.
Man, you are so articulate and thoughtful at 23. It's it's remarkable.
Thank you.
People who have suffered like you have sometimes get deeper.
Yeah, you learn a lot. Like I said, I learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That it was totally insane. I lived 8 years as Laura Jensen until I woke up and realized that it was totally insane to live this out. The first time that it happened in the 50s was Christine Jorgensen, but Jenner took it to the next level. And then 2015, it began to explode.
Are you a woman?
Yes, for all intents and purposes, I am a woman. My brain is much more female than it is male.
Ladies and gentlemen, the courageous, the stunning Caitlyn Jenner.
We're ruining an entire generation of children. I find even hearing about it and reading about it so repugnant and so destructive to children.
Trans members of this family all love each other so proudly, and they all
Bringing drag performers together with little kids is kind of a perfect relationship.
There are people whose gender might be a little bit of both or might even be neither.
And it's time that this stuff needs to end. We need men and women to step up and say, stop this nonsense. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. You know, my upbringing was pretty much a typical California upbringing in Los Angeles in the early 40s. It wasn't really anything remarkable. At least not until my dad began to take me over and drop me off at my grandma's house. Grandma was a seamstress and made dresses. And I became very curious about her work, and my curiosity led to her making me a purple chiffon dress that she made just to fit my perfect little 4-year-old body. You know, at first it felt really exciting to have somebody telling me how wonderful and cute I was. But what I didn't realize was happening is the second Grandma began to tell me how cute I looked in that purple dress, what she was really saying was that there was something radically wrong with the little boy that I really was. And so that begins this sort of creepy kind of psychological and emotional destruction that starts with inside a young boy, 4 years old, who doesn't know what the consequences are going to be about putting on a dress at 4 years old. And keeping it a secret from my parents for nearly 2 years, until I became so accustomed to wearing that purple dress that I decided to take the dress home so that I could put it on when my parents weren't watching or when I was alone, and I could sort of listen and hear those affirmations. I became sort of addicted to the affirmations and hearing her say how cute I was. So I had the purple dress at home, but my mom found it in my bottom dresser drawer. And she said, well, where did you get this dress? And I said, well, Grandma made it. And that just blew the house up. My dad was upset. My mom was upset. It was supposed to be a secret. I broke the secret. And as a result of that, I could not go back to Grandma's house without my mom or dad being with me. Dad didn't know what to do. His mother-in-law had just been cross-dressing his young boy. He was so angry at my grandmother that he took his anger out in his discipline on me, and he started hitting me with a hardwood floor plank when I would do something wrong. Sometimes he was just being way too critical, but it was that what was built up in him because of what happened to me. He did not know what to do. If you can imagine in 1946, 47, there's no information about kids wearing dresses. But the next part of the equation was his adopted brother, Uncle Fred, heard about me wearing the purple dress, and Uncle Fred decided that I was fair game to be sexually abused. Uncle Fred was not playing with a full deck of cards, and he'd get drinking a little bit, and he would come looking for me, and he would molest me. The emotional and psychological issues that I had from Grandma affirming me, I didn't really realize the consequences of those for many years. The hardwood floor plank obviously was very devastating, and then the sexual abuse was sort of the cherry on top of the cake. I was a broken child before I was 10 years old. You know, I decided that maybe I should have been a girl, not realizing that what I was trying to do was escape the abuse, not actually change who I was. But it resulted in me going through this process for many years of cross-dressing, going out in public as a female. And so I went through this even in my first marriage. I had 2 children. I was an executive for American Honda Motor Company. I worked on the Apollo space missions as an associate design engineer, but that purple dress, the hardwood floor plank, and the sexual abuse was about to take everything away. Then the next critical step was struggling with my identity. I went to a gender specialist in San Francisco who promptly identified me with gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder and promptly told me that I needed hormones and surgery. That was the treatment that he was prescribing to help me end the cycle of distress I was having about my gender because of what happened to me as a young child. The doctor I went to, his name is Dr. Paul Walker. Dr. Paul Walker was a homosexual transgender activist. He felt his job was to do like they're doing today, is to introduce people to hormones and surgery as a process of treatment. Now keep in mind, Dr. Paul Walker was not just your average therapist. Dr. Paul Walker was the author, the primary chairperson and author of the Harry Benjamin International Standards of Care, the very same standards of care that's being used today that's called WPATH standards of care. His agenda was pushing transgenderism, pushing surgery, and pushing hormones recklessly and really damaging someone's life like mine. I had kind of a devastating run of events. When I was struggling with alcoholism and drug addiction, I went into a treatment facility as Laura Jensen and came out the other side, and I went through a 2.5 or 3 hour therapy session with my psychologist. And during that day, I went through all of the things that had happened, the sexual abuse, the emotional abuse, the wrong idea about going through this procedure, all the things I'd done wrong, the destruction I did to my children and my ex-wife. And I wrote everything down after speaking about these issues, and he put a match to those yellow line paper and in the parking lot, and those papers began to burn, and the wind gently picked up the flame, and the papers were burned up. And it was sort of that cathartic moment where you realized, okay, all of that stuff now is lifted off of my shoulders. And he said, let's go back into my office and let's pray. Well, I'll be honest with you, this guy prays a lot, and he prays for a long time. And I did not want to go back in and pray with this guy because I figured I'd be there for like an hour praying. And as he prayed, I kept hearing him, and I kept thinking, is he going to end? And then there was a point in time when I couldn't hear him praying anymore. And miraculously, what I saw at that moment that I couldn't hear his voice was I saw the Lord Jesus Christ actually descending toward me with his arms stretched out. And I looked in front of me, and I saw that he was reaching toward a little baby. And I looked at the baby, and I go, that baby is me. The Lord is coming to claim me. And he turned to me and said, your life will be safe with me forever. And the Lord disappeared. I realized at that very moment, the Lord came to redeem and restore my life so that I will serve him every day after that date. I wanted to restore my life, bring myself back to reality. So faith played the pivotal role in me being here today. 35 years sober, married 24 years, and I detransitioned over 30 years ago. Thank the Lord, I've been very successful in providing help to many people. I haven't been able to help everybody, but I've been able to help a lot of people, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to try to help people who have no other place to turn. And so I started a website called sexchangeregret.com, and I work every single day with either a parent, a father, a transgender who has regret like I did. I work with psychologists, I work with college professors, I work with doctors, I work with lawyers. I am working to prevent people from going through this totally unnecessary, insane surgical procedure. And that's why I'm so passionate about trying to raise my voice and give people the opportunity to go, wait a minute, maybe this isn't right for me. And I'm going to continue doing it until the Lord comes and takes me home. And that's my mission, is to stop people from unnecessary surgery and stop the advocates from lying to people about them being able to change their gender.
Lacey has stopped screen share.
Okay, so guys, if you're just joining us, we've been talking about what would you do if your child wanted to undergo gender reassignment. We watched some videos. We just watched 2 videos back to back. One was a transgender person that decided that he or she had some regrets.
One was a woman, and the last one was a man.
And the other one was the last video we just saw. It was a man talking about how he basically went through a whole bunch of trials and tribulations based upon something that his grandma introduced him to early on. So here we go again, where we have somebody that is supposed to be our protector, our nurturer, someone supposed to show us the way, protect us from the ill-gotten ways of society and mankind, and they're being basically done wrong by their family members. So grandmom decided that she wanted to make a dress for this little boy, and it was their little secret where he wore the dress in her presence. But then at some point, he took the dress home and got caught wearing the dress around the house. Now, mind you guys, this is started out at 2 and went on until this kid was 6, I believe. And it disrupted their whole home. So dad didn't know how to deal with it. So dad became very aggressive, and he started to resent his son because of what
you ripping up the damn floor to beat your son with the
The
floor.
grandmother told the brother molested him. The uncle was
Yeah.
touching him. This is crazy.
Yeah, so this
But
guy.
here's the thing that I did. The first clip, ain't no way you gonna get me to believe that Tucker Carlson, because that's who that was.
Let me stop you right there. At the risk of sounding redundant.
Now, note to self, no Tucker Carlson
video. Wait, stop. I don't want to go back there with Tucker Carlson. So let me be clear about this.
I'm talking about him acting like he cared about transgender, because they're the ones that's trying to stop
That's not the point, though. The point is, I want you guys to pay attention to the story, not the interviewer. I don't want you to do that because that takes us in a whole different direction. I want you to hear what the people are saying, not the interviewer. They've been given a platform to speak their mind. I want you guys to pay attention to what they say.
He didn't even seem genuine.
Timmy, you're missing the point. We don't want to talk about Tucker. We want to talk about the gender.
Well, her story is not genuine. If the interviewer, you heard the way he was talking, sounded like he really cared. Oh my God, you're such a brave this man. He didn't care.
You don't want your personal issues or your beliefs about this interview to taint what we're trying to do here. We're talking about gender reassignment. I don't care with Carlson Tucker or Tucker Carlson's views, political views are. I'm talking about the young people that are being influenced into partaking in this gender reassignment, and they're being influenced by society. So again, whatever these people's intentions is, it's shedding light on something that's real, something that's happening. These children are committing suicide because they're making life-altering decisions, and then they come back and they have regret later on in life, and they don't know how to deal with it. And that is the story, not the other stuff.
That's when you start to blame the adults, like Sean said. You blame the adults. The grandmother, she started it all, thought it would be cute for him to walk around in a dress and whatnot. He felt comfortable doing it on the count of his grandmother said, "Oh, you're a sweet boy. You the granddaughter I always wanted." So of course now he's like, oh, my grandmother wants me to be a girl. So now every time I come over there, because he said he wore the dress every time he went to see his grandmother until he took it home and felt comfortable that his grandmother was cool with it, that his parents would think it'd be cool too.
Actually, no, I don't think that's what it was, because that's why he was hiding it. And then when it came to their attention, that's why everything basically exploded. Kiana, how do you feel about this? You got parents influencing these children's gender identity decisions, which is bringing about the gender dysphoria, which is leading to the affirmative care, which is leading to like the gender reassignment. I know that's a lot, but because
I can understand as a parent of you being supportive of your children, but I don't agree that you should push them into something that they're not completely ready for.
Mm-hmm.
As I stated before, I think that a lot more therapy needs to be had, and it needs to be longer than 18 years, and definitely not letting a child, especially a 2-year-old or a 6-year-old, say what they want to be. I mean, they want to be a dinosaur, so that changes. So you wanting to be a boy or a girl and you're not, that could change. So I don't believe that you should push them in any way towards a permanent solution.
Okay. Robert, same
Now,
thing.
wait, let me go next while I got this on my dome right now.
Go ahead.
I have to talk about this last video.
Okay.
Because this last video had me sitting here thinking and checking myself. Well, not checking myself, God was checking me.
Okay.
For the video that we saw before that I was feeling attacked on, he let me know that I was leading by my flesh, by my emotions, and not by the spirit. Because what this man's story was is indicative of what kids are going through today. And it's about being molested. When you're being molested by family members, or friends or strangers, whatever, that could lead you to have an identity crisis, a gender identity crisis, as well as an identity crisis. And the fact that he said that he prayed, he allowed his spirit to lead him instead of his thought, his flesh. And God came and visited him. I can relate to that, and I can understand that. And that had me sitting here listening to what God was saying to me about how I was behaving about that last video with the mother and the father, that I was allowing my emotions and my flesh to lead my conversation and not the spirit.
I respect that. So again, I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Kiana, and I'm going to go around. So basically, we talked about how this gender identity leads to gender dysphoria, to affirmative care, and then that leads to the actual gender reassignment. 9% back. So how do you answer that? How do you feel about that?
I feel that it needs to be, like he said, I feel you need to lead with the spirit, and parents need to be more attentive to their children. Like, you're the parent, they're not the parent. I think there needs to be, like she said, intervention going on as far as speaking to someone, getting some psychological care well past 18 years old. when your mind is fully developed and you can make informed decisions, mature decisions.
But look what happened.
Next. You can go next.
Look what happened to the gentleman in the second video. He went to supposedly be a doctor, to talk about his issue, and immediately the doctor said to him, now he's trusting the doctor's word, right? The doctor tells him, oh, you need to be on hormones and you need to get an operation for your treatment, right off the bat. Now, he did help the gentleman. He helped him by emptying his bank account, by charging him all this money for something that he really didn't want to be. He was confused from the grandmother and all the adults that came in, that that played a part.
They took advantage of him.
Yes. And so, I have a problem. I just have a problem with the doctor who was quick to suggest that he be on hormones and get the operation.
All right. Tanya, you was gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I asked questions to my doctors and my psychiatrists, and I asked them how long they've been doing this bit. They've been in the
profession.
Yes, thank you. And I'd be quick to say that you're not just gonna put me on no medication without me knowing about the medication and what it's for.
See, that's because that's an adult making an adult decision and using critical thinking. That's why children shouldn't be allowed to make adult decisions.
Yeah, but Timmy was saying that he was already an adult going to see the psychiatrist, and I have to say that maybe his mind wasn't, he might have been an adult in age, but he wasn't fully there yet because he was still living a life that he
wasn't sure
to him. Yeah,
right.
He wasn't
as a
true
child,
to him.
because that automatically sets you back.
Yeah, because it messed up his development, his social development, because the grandma want to mess around with him.
So at what point do we start looking at this as not to be funny towards the LGBT, but they are pushing P. What point do we start looking at it as pedophilia? Because when we're talking about a child's gender, we're talking about their sex, right? So why are we sexualizing these kids at a young age? What
There's
does
a difference
that?
between your sexuality and your sex as
Your
your
sex
gender.
is your gender, right? It makes you a male or a female. That's your sex.
Yeah.
That's
So
your gender, but that's not your sexuality. Those are two different things.
Well, yeah, because sexuality.
But it's your sex. Yeah, so I'm why are we sexualizing?
Your sex is your gender. You're right about that. Sexuality is what you.
Why are kids even worried about that? Is what I'm saying. They shouldn't even be put in these positions where they're deciding if they're a boy about their sex yet.
So
you get what I'm saying?
So again, Gregory, I'm going to ask you the same thing because I'm going to go around. But you guys are just jumping in here, so I'll go as you jump in. Next person is Patsy. Gregory, so I'm asking the same question. You basically answered, so I'm going to ask you it again. We went from there being an issue of gender identity, gender dysphoria. We went to affirmative care, which basically says what the child feels, we should lead by the child, how the child feels, and what the child thinks. Then you have which leads to the gender reassignment. So again, how do you feel about that?
I feel like it's one big molding process. Especially if you look at the guy, he was confused. He was done for after his grandmother started calling him a girl. He looked cute and he was wearing a dress. Then she told the uncle, and the uncle touched him. And then he was living his life as a cross-dresser and as a male. So he has a split personality disorder already. It's a big mental thing already.
Call him a girl.
to a crazy personality.
Did he do what?
I said, did she call him a girl? I feel like the beginning of that story was more so he at the beginning of his life he wasn't getting something from be at home. He wasn't getting the attention and the
affirmations
that he should have been getting from his parents. He was getting that from his grandmother, and I feel that that kind of skewed his beliefs. And also, of course, anytime a child is molested, that is also going to mess them up mentally as well.
Well, let's stay right there,
Dave.
Wait a minute, Robbie. Wait.
Let me jump right in here.
Hold on 1 second. one second. Kiana, let's stay right there. So maybe, and let's just humor me. Let's say grandma started out her intentions was well met. You know, she had his best intentions. She was giving him praise. Right?
No, Uncle D. I was gonna say that he on good.
I want to answer all of
you can't say something's a secret and think that you're having good intentions, knowing that.
Let me make my point. Let me make my point before y'all jump in. If grandma's intentions was genuine and she was trying to give him basically Sonny wasn't getting at home by basically praising him, telling him that he's loved and stuff like that. How did it take a very perverse twist when she started having him wear a dress? She purposely made this dress for.
She was a dressmaker. He liked what she did.
But that's her grandson. Why are you making a dress for your grandson?
Well, first of all, we've made clothes gender specific. Clothes are not gender specific. Men were always wearing pants. So let's kind of get away from that.
All right, but we're talking about current society.
Okay.
Current society, not societies of the old. We're talking about current society, whereas grandma made a dress for her grandson.
Now, I was gonna say, you don't think the kid was intrigued by what she was doing? It's any kid as a 2-year-old. He's asking her his grandmother.
You're chopping at
his
the
grandmother.
Listen, I want to be clear about this. There's 2 videos we've seen. Then you asked a question, right? Outside those 2 videos, a different question.
Yeah, dude.
Let me just answer this real quick on these 2 videos. I'm gonna save the first one for last because there was a key word that really triggered me when she first said it. I'm gonna take this man's video and I'm gonna do something real quick with it. Grandma got this little boy in her dungeon doing dresses, making them, sewing them, stitching them. Who cares what she's doing to create them? This little boy's fascinated by his grandmother's work. She takes this little boy, break the trust between grandma and grandson, and was developing some type of sick, twisted viewing for her. She wanted a granddaughter. So she started dressing him up in a dress. If you can tell me, was that her son that molested her, this boy? Because I'm going to go as far as say grandma was grooming this little kid.
Brother.
Since, the father's brother. So I was going to say, if it was the
He's brother, period. Adopted.
All right, he's a brother. She was grooming this little boy to be a little girl, to act feminine, to want to wear dresses. She made him deceitful with his parents. He went home and hid the dress in his bottom dresser drawer, keeping secrets with him and grandma, only them 2 know about. That's really a red flag when you're raising your kid at home and you're putting your trust in your mother or your mother-in-law to not do your child no wrong or be keeping secrets from you guys as the parents. So that's a red flag right there. And plus, I think she was grooming him because she done seen some sick shit in her lifetime. And that's why she had this little boy thinking he was cute, flamboyant, and whatever else she probably was telling him over there. For the father to beat him with the pieces of the floor, he was trying to beat the devil out of him where he could see what he thought was evil, something that was in his son's body that was taking over and he was going to beat it out of him. That's what the father was thinking. The brother that came and molested that kid, I said it was all like he found out this little kid was being groomed. I'm gonna come over there and steal something from this little kid.
Took advantage of them too.
Yep. So now, the first video, and I consider this very strongly for all the viewers that's listening. And back to grandma, you got this kid putting on a dress for your sick pleasures, and I'm gonna call it sick pleasures. I don't care who else is against that right there. The girl said key words. I was playing with the idea. So when you play dress up or you playing makeup and all that stuff, and it's really just for little girls, when boys start playing dress up and play makeup, it's wrong. All day long, there's no justification for it. I don't care if it's grandma, mom, dad, uncle, aunt, sister, or brother. You know you're doing wrong when you're having this little boy pretend to be something he isn't. And for her, playtime's over. You only got in that damn thing to see how it feels and see what more conversation you can have striked up when you're around different people. Was they gonna be judging you? Was they gonna accept? Because you heard her tell you, I was just playing around with it.
She said it was an experiment.
Yes, and I don't like that. You really, if there's some people out here that really have that problem, those are the people that should be sitting there going all the way with it, getting the help. But you just dibbling and diving into stuff just to see how it is, and then you're gonna say, "Thank you, I didn't get no scars from surgery and all of this stuff." Come on now, playtime's over. What was your ending question for this podcast?
That was it. You basically answered it. And Patsy, let me thank you because everybody jumped over you. So Patsy, now it's your turn. How do you feel about the videos? And we went from gender identity to gender dysphoria to affirmative care to gender reassignment. And how do you feel about those videos? Did they spoke of all those things?
You know, I'm just to kind of like that gender regret that you done did something and then now you're like, oh wait a minute, oh I done messed up, now I gotta go back to what I originally was. But that last video was really, really crazy because that little boy, like he was just taking an interest in what grandma was doing and grandma played on it. Now instead of like saying, oh, okay, well let me make you something, okay, I'll show you, keep doing my dresses, but like that would have prompted me to
Put you in a shirt or something. That's what
what I'm
you're
about
trying
to
to
say,
say.
G.
I would have got prompted to say, well, let me make children's clothes and I'll side with my grandson and say, I'll make some boys' clothes so this way I can make him outfits to wear and say, and talk to his parents, be like, look, I'm gonna make him some clothes and stuff and make sure like they're gender appropriate and make some gender neutral clothes and make some girls' clothes as well as boys, and throw him on something that he could take home and be showing off at school and this and that. Well, but to hide it and make him a dress, that was not okay. Somebody said that grandma had some issues and done seen something or something was did to her, and so she threw her issues on him and then that made him have issues. And then of course the uncle and the father, well, he got beat by the father, got molested by the uncle and stuff, and that just kind of like messed him up for life. And now that he's like probably what, late 50s, 60s or something, whatever old he is now. And all that crap, it's like just crazy, talking about the getting sexual reassignment. It's like that's a whole different level of stuff that went on. And mind you, all this stuff that happened to him happened in the 1940s, right around World War II and stuff. So this is like way back in the day where we didn't have the word transgender. We didn't no clue of what that was and didn't even deem possible. Like nobody was even thinking on that level. All we know, boys and girls.
I think that was his point too. It's been going on for quite a long time, and that's why he said people need to take a stance, and it needs to stop. So let me be clear about this before I go.
Yep, 1918 something it was.
Let me make this point before we go on to Sean, because Sean's the last person on the pyramid to just speak on. So just to be clear about this. Yes, in other culture prior to primitive times and different societies and stuff. Yes, men were wearing Romans and stuff like that.
Just the Romans. I was gonna say Romans
or sorts and stuff like that. Even in some countries, still they wear like what is it? The Scottish and them wear what do they refer to as kilts? Kilts. All right. Now here you go. Here's the distinction, because in America and in our language and stuff like that, certain things have different words have different meanings and stuff like that. So we have nouns, verbs, adjectives to describe a certain thing. So there's a clear distinction whereas gender is concerned. You are either male or female. You are born with both. And you have to make the genetics does that, biology does that, where it works that out for you. So I just say God does that. He decides who's going to be a boy, who's going to be a girl. If you started out as one way in the womb or whatever when it was first starting out, the transition was already decided before you came out if you was going to be a boy or a girl. I'll just say that, and then I'll let Sean talk. Sean, go ahead. Same question. How you feel about the videos and where we are?
I mean, I pretty much can take on what everyone had to say about the video. Me personally, it just shows how confused, how jacked up, how and this is just my personal opinion because I don't agree with any of it. How messed up we as people and can be, and how we can get after experiencing certain things from other individuals in our lives, and the trauma that comes with all of it is just it's really sad. It's really sad, and we as adults, that we don't take on a better role in guiding our kids in better ways, and how some of us not. And when I say some of us, I'm not talking about us. I'm just talking about like us as adults to children. Like we really don't protect society, and we don't protect our children, and this is the results of what happens in most cases, in my opinion.
Okay, I like that. And so let me just say end this by saying this. So the title of this topic basically was what would you do if your child wanted to undergo a gender reassignment? So the questions, I didn't want it to be a situation where it was based upon political or somebody's affiliation with a certain group or anything like this, because this is not about the LGBTQ plus IA community or attack. Timmy, mute your phone. Or an attack on one group of society. This is about the misrepresentation, the poor parenting, bad decisions by parents, allowing children to dictate what they feel like they're going to do long-term, making long-term decisions, which are adult decisions. I think that's why, again, there's a distinction between children and adults. Children, when we grew up, children was told to remain in the child's place. So I think adults should remain in a place too. But as an adult, it does not, just like age does not dictate maturity, everybody can't be good leaders, good provide guidance for children. So I feel like that society has members that have been given certain positions in government and in other positions of authority, and they have their own agendas, and they are attacking our children. Our children require defending, not these adults. That's what I want everybody to understand. It starts out at a situation where the child is having gender identity issues, and then this turns into gender dysphoria, and then the government says, hey, well, you should do this, this, and that. Or asking the child how do they feel about it, what they want to be about. It's basically leapfrogging, undermining the parent's authority. It's telling the child, hey, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Mom and dad and everybody else just has to go along with it. But I dare say this. I think that some of these individuals that has that much influence on your child, or that's trying to influence your child, they're not doing the same thing when it comes to their child. So this is why people do things in secrecy, where you have these children, you're allowing them to live out these fantasies, so to speak, these alter identities. So you're allowing them to dress a certain way, like in a situation where dad sends his son to school as a boy, and the school is allowing that child to dress up in a dress. And you're not even taking that parent's feelings and their beliefs into consideration. This is why we can't have discussions about this, because they make it into something other than what it is, and they forget the true issue at hand. These are children, you know what I'm saying? And they're the ones that's being affected. So when you don't give the children the right guidance and nurturing, these children become adults with real issues that were not dealt with when they was young. So you are messing with their developmental stage, their developmental period. You go through different stages in life. How are we leapfrogging past childhood to adulthood? That's what we're basically doing when we're saying that children get to dictate and tell you, I don't want to do this no more. Okay, let's wait until they become adults so we can have adult discussions. Because I don't think that children's mindset is ready to be having adult discussions. For that matter, we have adults that are not even ready to have adult discussions, and that's what's going on. We're having these discussions with the wrong adults. The children are leading the discussion because the adults are allowing them to do so. So again, if we have a group of leaders, influencers, that they think a certain way, they want everybody else to behave that certain way. So I'll just say this, guys, again, attitude equals aptitude. If you think a certain way, you will behave a certain way. And now, because there are certain individuals, like I said, that think a certain way, they are well, I'm not even gonna say they're trying, they're influencing the young people so that they behave what they feel is acceptable. So you guys pay attention to that. It's not about anything else other than our children need defending. They need protecting from these individuals that have bad intentions. Bad intentions. Because you shouldn't be having conversations with children about, like Gregory said, about it shouldn't be a sex conversation with a child. It shouldn't even be a question about gender because it's something that's taught to you early on. Just wait until they're able to understand these conversations. They can make informed decisions, you know. So that's where we're at with this. We can talk about this back and forth, but it never should be a situation where a discussion becomes an argument because it defeats the purpose where we're not discussing the true issue at hand. And in this situation, we was talking about gender reassignment, and it was as it pertains to a child. And that's the key word, a child coming to their parent and saying, I want to undergo a gender reassignment. Okay, you guys got that? Everybody's cool with that? All right. Thank you for participating. Again, let me applaud you guys. Y'all handled this topic well. It was lots of good feedback. Hopefully we can get this posted on YouTube and you know, so everybody else can see it and they can have further discussion about it.
Y'all know we didn't even talk about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union.
That's because
that's dope.
Again, let me say this to you. Again, since you brought that up, and we're going to end it on that, definitely. That's part of the problem. We stop putting faces and labels and celebrities and stuff like that, and you forget these people to begin with, they're just humans. You see what I'm saying? And then it becomes public consumption, and now everybody has an opinion about it. That's the problem. Parents should parent their children. Society shouldn't be parenting your children. Society should not
put
dictate.
stuff on. People like to be in the public eye. So if they're not doing much in the public eye like they were, then controversy sells, and they can be in the news and be talked about, and you know that's what they care about. As long as they're still relevant.
Yep, and on that note, guys, again, thank you for coming. This has been another Still a Man podcast episode. See you guys next week. God bless you all.
God bless.
Everyone. All right.
I forgive y'all for jumping on me too.
Tanya, I'll see you tomorrow at whatever time you're talking.
Sorry.
Okay.
left the meeting.
So everybody else, y'all can have further discussions, but I'm about to end it. Good night.
Good night.